Hello everyone, I welcome you all to our classes for International English Olympiad for class 6th. Today is our 5th class in the series and the topic that we are going to do in detail today is adverbs. We will be understanding what adverbs are through various examples as well and then moving on to the sample questions which will serve as a very important pillar in your preparation, helping you to understand what kind of questions are asked. Alright, so let's get started.
The first question that comes to our mind is what exactly are adverbs? किसी भी टॉपिक को करने से पहले उसका मीनिंग समझ लेना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है और जैसे कि हम करते आए हैं हम इसके थोड़े से एग्जाम्पल्स लेंगे और उन एग्जाम्पल्स में से ही हम इसका मीनिंग डिराइव करेंगे. Alright? Now you see there's a question, there's a sentence over here. इस सेंटेंस को हम पढ़ें तो it says she looked at her gift happily. अपने गिफ्ट को कैसे देख रही थी? The girl got a gift and she was looking at her gift happily. How was she looking at the gift? Happily. She was happy to see the gift. How did she feel? She was happy and she was looking at the gift happily. Alright? Remember this. She looked at a gift happily. कैसे देख रही थी? How? We are answering the question how here. Okay? Here. Her father rarely surprised her like this. In this sentence, which question is being answered? How often? Means how often did her father surprise her like this? Rarely. So what is the answer here? Rarely. What was the question? How often? The question being answered in the form of rarely. Saying rarely her father surprised her like this. And the question is, there were balloons everywhere. Okay. So which question is this sentence answering now? Where? Where were the balloons? Balloons were everywhere. So the first one answered how, the second one answered how often, the third one is answering where. Now next, this sentence is her father got her a gift today. So this sentence is answering the question when. You see, her father got her a gift today. When did he get her a gift? Today. The question being answered is today. The fourth point is when and father got her a gift today. There are different kinds of questions being answered in each sentence. Now here you see she was completely surprised by the gift. Here the question being answered is the fifth question, which is to what extent. मतलब वो किस लिमिट तक, किस हद तक सरप्राइज थी. She was completely, वो एकदम सबसे ज़्यादा, she was completely surprised by the gift. Alright? So completely. To what extent? Completely. Okay? Now from all this, let's understand what adverbs are. Adverbs जो होते हैं, they describe a verb, adjective or another adverb and answer these 5 questions. The questions जिनके हमने examples लिए थे, how often, to what extent, when and where. So these questions are answered by the words called adverbs. And what do they describe? They describe any verb or adjective or another adverb. इसको हम better understand करेंगे next slide पे. तो अब हम सारे examples लेंगे और समझेंगे तो आपको better समझ आएगा. The first sentence was she looked at her gift. She looked at her gift happily. Then the next one said her father rarely surprised her like this. Third one was there were balloons everywhere. Then her father got her a gift today. The last one said she was completely surprised by the gift. Now, you see the first question. The first sentence is answering the question how. And आप आइडेंटिफाई करो कि इसमें से कौन सा वर्ड है जो ये क्वेश्चन आंसर कर रहा है. Happily. So what is the adverb here? Happily. Adverb की हमने definition क्या पढ़ी है? Adverbs are the words which describe a verb, adjective, another adverb, and answer any of these questions. How, to what extent, etc. So इसमें कौन सा word answer कर रहा है ये question? Happily. And happily क्या describe कर रहा है? Happily is describing the girl because she was looking at the gift happily. Okay? Now next, the second sentence, her father rarely surprised her like this. Here, the question being answered is how often. How often is being answered by which word? Rarely. Okay. So it is the adverb, because adverbs we know that they answer any of these following questions of how often, when, where, etc. Okay. The third question is where. So in the third sentence, where का जवाब कौन सा word दे रहा है? Everywhere. Where were the balloons? The balloons were everywhere. Okay, so the adverb here is everywhere. To the next question being answered is of when. Her father got her a gift today. When did her father get her a gift? Today. Alright. So the adverb here is today. Because adverbs क्या होते हैं? जो describe करते हैं किसी noun, adverb या adjective को और answer करते हैं questions. So यहाँ पे answer किया है when ने. Alright. Now the last one, the last question being answered is to what extent. To what extent was the girl surprised? She was completely surprised by the gift. Okay. So these are the 5 adverbs. These are the 5 questions जो adverbs answer करते हैं. How? How का हमें मिला है happily से. How was the girl looking at the gift? Happily. How often did her father surprise her like this? He rarely surprised her like this. And where were the balloons? They were everywhere. When did the father get her a gift? Today. And to what extent was she surprised? She was completely surprised. Okay, so these are the 5 examples of adverbs. Now we will see each category of adverbs and understand through examples. Let's start. So the first type of adverbs that we are going to do are the ones that answer the questions of when. These are the adverbs which tell us about when. Okay, so we will see a few examples like after, already, before, early, now. These are the few examples. We will see them in sentences. Okay, in sentences. She will visit the hospital tomorrow. So, which question is being answered here? When? When will she visit the hospital? Tomorrow. And which word is answering the question? Tomorrow. So, tomorrow becomes the adverb. Next, the results were announced yesterday. Now, when is being answered by which word? Yesterday. So, adverb here is what? Yesterday. Okay, this is the first category of questions being answered. These are the other adverbs which we can use while answering the questions of when. Now next category. So the next category of adverbs are the ones which answer the questions of where. Let us see a few examples. The adverbs are away, everywhere, here, there, inside. These are only a few examples. Now the examples in sentences, they will meet you there. So where will they meet you? They will meet you there. Then where do flowers bloom in spring? The second sentence. The adverb answering the question is everywhere. Alright. So the second category is where. Now next. The third category of adverbs are the ones which answer the questions of how. How something is done, how did that happen, etc. So the adverbs which answer the question of how could be easily, happily, loudly, quickly, quietly. Alright. And now these is one of the sentence examples of this adverbs. How do we use them in sentences? He slipped away. How did he slip away? He quietly slipped away. So the word answering the question of how is quietly. So the adverb is quietly here. Another, how does she write? How does she work? She works fast. So the word which is answering the question of how is fast. Okay, this was the third category. Now another category is the adverbs answering the questions of to what extent. To what extent मतलब किस limit तक, किस extent तक, किस हद तक, enough, extremely, quiet, to, very. These are a few adverbs which answer the questions of to what extent. Now if we use them in sentences, she almost finished the work. To what extent has she finished the work? She has almost finished the work. So which word is answering the question of to what extent? Almost. So almost becomes the adverb. Then they were completely surprised by the windfall. To what extent were they surprised by the windfall? Completely. So the word which answers the question of to what extent is completely. So this is the fourth category. Now next, this is the fifth category of adverbs, telling us how often does something happen. Frequency. You see here, okay. So now this is the chart that I have made so that you can understand how often how often adverbs chart. These are all adverbs, all of these. पर एक timeline बना दी है, एक वो बना दी है कि जैसे अगर how often, if there is something that happens never, which means जो 0%, जो कभी भी नहीं होता, then that is never. Something that happens about 5% of the time, मतलब बहुत ही rare chances होने के, तो hardly ever. 10% मतलब seldom, थोड़ा बहुत हो जाता है, occasionally. Then अगर 50% times होता है, 50% times नहीं होता है, तो sometimes. फिर 50% से ज़्यादा बार होता है अगर, तो often, ये मतलब ज़्यादातर यही होता है. And normally 80% times जब से यही चीज होती है तो हम उसे normal situation कहते हैं कि normally this happens. And 90% जब most of the times मतलब कुछ हो रहा है तो usually, and if something happens 100% of the times then that is always. Okay, so this is the adverbs chart. You can use, अब आप adverbs से आपको एक और advantage मिल गई. Now you know the different kind of adverbs so that you can use them. आप इनको अब use कर सकते हैं जब आपको बताना है कि कितने often कुछ चीज होती है. जैसे आपको पता है often कब use करना है and seldom कब use करना है, sometimes कब use करना है. Okay, so you should add this to your vocabulary. Now we will see the examples. I always wake up at 6 o'clock. Always wake up at 6 o'clock means I wake up at 6 o'clock 100% of the times. मतलब मैं रोज सुबह 6 o'clock उठती हूँ. Then I think there is a mistake here. This is this is A, but this should be an O. I'm sorry for the spelling error. Then I usually come home from work. Usually मतलब 90% of the time. Usually I come home from work. Maybe rare chances में like 5-10% of the times work के बाद कहीं और चले गए. But 90% of the time come home from work. I usually come home from work. So कौन सा words हैं जो answer कर रहे हैं questions of how often? Always and usually. So ये हैं हमारे adverbs. Okay. So now let's move on. This was the 5th category. We have done 5 categories. Now I have a few adverbs so that to make you understand कि कैसे sentences में use होते हैं. Okay. There's this verb adverb arrogantly जिसका मतलब होता है cheekily, insolently, मतलब थोड़ा सा rude behavior में, थोड़ा proudy behavior में. Example क्या हुआ? He entered the class arrogantly. Okay, ये इसका example है. When we use it in a sentence, it can be used like this. जिसने बहुत cheekily class में enter किया. Nobody likes arrogant people though. We should not be arrogant. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. So here the adverb is rapidly. Rapidly का मतलब होता है quickly, fast, swiftly, quickly, speedily. Rapidly कौन से question को answer कर रहा है? Think about it. It is answering the question of how. Okay. And the examples are she glanced rapidly in the room. ने quickly room के अंदर देखा, जल्दी से देखा. In 2018, production in the factory fell rapidly. 2018 में जो factory की production थी वो बहुत जल्दी गिर गई. कैसे गिर गई? जल्दी. She glanced rapidly. How did she glance across the room? She glanced rapidly. So आप देख रहे हो. I hope you are able to identify the adverbs by now. Now we'll move on to the next one. So for this one we have the adverb of certainly. Now certainly means definitely, strictly. When you are absolutely sure about something, you say certainly. It could be used in sentences like you certainly make a good looking footballer. It will certainly rain today. Okay. Now let's move on to the next example. We have the example of word often. Often means many times, frequently when something happens. We did this example in the adverbs. Which answer which question? Which answer the questions of how often, the frequency, how often something happens. Okay. So then the meaning we've done. Examples: she often reads a book. The verb, which word answers the question of how often? Often here. I often suffer from headaches. Okay. And the next example. So here the word is unexpectedly. The meaning is unaware, unbeknown. जब कुछ ऐसा होता है जो आपने सोचा नहीं होता है, जो अचानक से हो जाता है, we say this happened unexpectedly. How? It answers the question of how. So it is an adverb which answers the question of how. He left the school. How? Unexpectedly. The light came on. How? Unexpectedly. See? So both of them answer the question of how. Both of them are adverbs. Here we have the word specially. Specially means particularly, something which is in particular, exclusively. Let me give you an example. The government should take steps specially for global warming. Now this sentence means that the government needs to take steps for many things, but specially, मतलब special importance देनी है for global warming. Then another sentence, I especially like to go on vacation in summer. मतलब मेरे को वेकेशन पे जाना तो पसंद है, पर particularly, पर exclusively summer में तो बहुत ही पसंद है. तो especially like to go on vacation in summer. Right? So ये another adverb, exclusively. So this is another adverb which is officially. This answers the question of again how, and it means formally, on the record. Example sentences are, the world war was officially over. मतलब जब पेपर पे, जब फॉर्मली दोनों सारी कंट्रीज ने मिलके बोल दिया कि हाँ अब फॉर्मली खत्म हो गई, अब हमने ट्रीटी साइन कर दी है, अब ऑफिशियली ओवर है. Then the winner will be officially announced tomorrow. Officially मतलब जब properly through authorities जब result आएगा, then the winner will be announced. Okay, so the question of how, officially, answers the question of how in these sentences. And next. Alright, so for the quiz what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see, your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two, three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. Alright. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. Alright, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points, because there is no negative marking in IEO, so it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer, now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer, and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct. So you should, in that case, play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions, the ones which you mark incorrect. It is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. Alright, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer you can give yourself 10 points. Alright, now let's start. Okay, so now we come to the questions of adverbs. What we have to do here is, in this category, identify the adverbs of manner, place, time or frequency underlined in the given sentence. So pretty easy. यहाँ पे एक word है sentence में which is underlined. We have to see कि ये adverb of manner है या place है या time है या frequency है. Very easy. Let's see. Have you met him before? So when you read the question, what do you understand by the word before? Before मतलब they are asking कि क्या तुम कभी इससे पहले मिले हो, which means they are asking time. मतलब have you ever? This is answering the question of when. Okay, so the adverb is of time. All right. ऐसे solve करने में it will be very easy, this category. He was sleeping upstairs. The word underlined is upstairs. So upstairs ये जो word है, ये जो हमारा adverb है, which question is it answering? Okay, अगर आपको इस पूरे sentence के लिए question पूछना होगा तो आप क्या पूछोगे? Where is he sleeping? And so it is answering the question of where, and where is the adverb of? The adverbs which answer the question of where are the adverbs of place. Alright. Do you often play cricket? Here the underlined word is often. So for this adverb, what kind of question would you form? Question would be, how often do you play cricket? And how often is answered by the adverb of frequency, right? Okay. कितनी बार do you play cricket? कब कब खेलते cricket से? How do you often play cricket? All right. Here, please listen to me attentively. Or, sorry, the word underlined is attentively, and we have to choose either manner, place, time, or frequency. So attentively is answering the question of what? How? How is the teacher or how is this person requesting others to listen to this person? Attentively. In answering the question of how, so the answer is manner, adverb of manner. All right. I came to know about your friend afterwards. So this afterwards, the underlined word. Which question is it answering? It's answering the question of time. Like, when did you come to know about my friend? I came to know about your friend afterwards. Answering the question of when, so becomes the adverb of time. All right. My friend came to my house daily. What is the underlined word? Daily. So what kind of question would you form for such a sentence? How often does your friend come to your house? My friend came to my house daily. How often did your friend come to your house? My friend came to my house daily. So how often? How often is answered by the adverbs of D, frequency. Alright. Okay, so here, next category, what we have to do in here is convert the underlined phrase in the given sentences into an adverb. We have an underlined phrase which we have to convert into an adverb and choose the correct one from the options. Let's see here. The speaker spoke with fluency. A, fluently, B, fluency, D, C, fluent manner, or D, none of these. Now here, we have to replace the words with fluency, right? And what is the adverb here? A, fluently. Fluently means what? In a fluent manner. Okay. But you see here, see, अगर हमें adverb नहीं choose करना होता, so we could have chosen in a fluent manner. Either in होता, the speaker spoke in a fluent manner. Alright. But here we had to choose an adverb, and adverb is here A, fluently. B, fluency, this is a noun. Okay. The speaker spoke fluently. Here, the criminal requested the judge to consider his case with sympathy. The options are A, solace, B, systematic, C, sympathetic, D, systematically. Sorry, sympathetically. Here, the correct answer is D, sympathetically. Now, sympathetically is an adverb of manner, answers the question of how. Let's see the other options. A, solace means peace, it's the noun. B, systematic. Systematic is an adjective. C, sympathetic is an adjective again. D, sympathetically means in a sympathetic manner, or we can say with sympathy. Alright. Alright, now here, you should take your medicines 2 times in a day. The options are A, 2 a day, B, daily times 2, C, twice daily, or D, in day or 2 times. Here the phrase to replaces 2 times in a day. Okay. Here the correct answer is C, twice daily. Answering the question of how often, it is the adverb of frequency. Here the options are A, well off, B, well advised, C, well balanced, D, behave well. Now here the correct answer is D, behave well. Alright. Here in D option, the word well is answering the question of how, adverb of manner. Whereas in others, well off, well advised, well balanced, it is doing the job of an adjective. And these, okay, so well off, doing the job of an adjective again, well advised like an adjective, well balanced, adjective, right? A, hurry, B, hurriedly, C, hurtful, or D, hurried. Okay, here the answer is B, hurriedly. In what manner? It is the adverb of manner answering the question of how. It is hurriedly. The other options, A, hurry is a verb telling us some action. C, hurtful is an adjective describing something. D, hurried is the past form of hurry. Alright, hurried. Okay, here what do we have to do? We have to fill in the blanks with suitable degrees of the adverbs from the given options. Degrees of the adverbs. Let's see. We can do it dash now because we have better resources. We can do it easier now. We can do it easiest now. We can do it easy now, or we can do it more easily now. So the correct answer is D, more easily. And if you are smart enough to eliminate the options, you will see that there is only one adverb in any option. All these others are just adjectives. Okay. Now easy is in the positive, is a positive adjective. A, easier, comparative adjective, and B, easiest, superlative adjective. Only adverb here is more easily. Now, Asma walks very, more gracefully, B, most graceful, C, very gracefully, or D, very grace. Here, the correct answer is C, gracefully. Right, very gracefully. Why C, gracefully? Because you see A, more gracefully. Here, more will not be used because we already have the word very. D, most graceful, is an adjective. And D, grace is actually a noun. Okay. So here the answer is C, gracefully, answering the question of how. It is an adverb of manner. Okay, so here, among all her friends, Julia acts A, wisely, B, more wisely, D, wise, C, wise, or D, most wisely. Here the answer is D, most wisely. Why most wisely? Because here you see we are comparing Julia with what? Among all her friends. So we are comparing Julia with all her friends. इसमें कौन सी degree use होती है? Most. मतलब superlative degree. So here we will be using most wisely. And wisely is the adverb here. So the degree of adverb to be used is superlative. Other options. A, wisely, just an adverb, इसमें कोई degree नहीं used है. B, more wisely, comparative degree incorrect. C, wise is an adjective, so it is also incorrect. Mala answered the questions Mala answered the questions dash then Mahi. So here the options are A. Quicker, B. Quick, C. Quickly, D. Quickest. Now here the correct answer is A. Quicker, then Mahi. Here what are we doing? Quick जो है, it is telling us what? Telling us the manner, adverb of manner, telling us how. And then we are using the second degree comparative because we are comparing Mala and Mahi. Only one person is being compared with another. So comparative degree. Alright. Simran spends dash on her accessories than on anything else. A spends more on her accessories. B spends many on her accessories. C more on her accessories. A is much on her accessories. B is many on her accessories. C is more on her accessories. And D is most on her accessories. Now here the answer is C, more. Why? Because we are answering the question of we are doing comparative. Here we are comparing the accessories and anything else. So two things are being compared. So here comparative, more. Okay. Alright, here Aradhana works dash of all. A hard, B hardest, C harder, D most hard. Now here the adverb is what? Adverb is hard. Okay, hard tells us the manner. Is answers the question of how. Adverb of manner हो गया. But here you see Aradhana works hard here use होगा and of all. So we are going to use which degree? Superlative, because we are comparing what? Aradhana with all. So amongst all, we are talking about Aradhana. So we will be using superlative. So the answer is B, hardest of all. Alright. Alright, now next question. Good teacher is dash respected by all. A. More highly, B. Most highly, C. Highly, or D. Higher. Now here the correct answer is C. Highly. Good teacher is highly respected by all. Now here हम कोई comparison नहीं कर रहे हैं किसी से, हम जब एक positive sentence एक statement ही है कि a good teacher is highly respected by all. Highly answers the question of house, which is an adverb of manner. Alright. All these others may they won't be used because here we are only using the positive degree. Now choose the correct adverb from the given options. Let's see. Are you dash sure that I can't help you? Are you rather sure? Are you too sure? Are you so sure? Or are you quite sure? Now here the correct answer is D. Quite. Quite, it is answering the question of to what extent. Alright, so the correct answer is quite. Are you quite sure I can't help you? Right? Here I'm dash boiling. Can we put the air conditioner on? I'm fair boiling. I'm hardly boiling. I'm absolutely boiling, or I'm very boiling. Here the correct answer is C. I am absolutely boiling. Right? So it is again answering the question of to what extent, this adverb. The question says, what's your new principal like? Well, she's dash strict, but I like her. A. She's rather strict. B. She's lot strict. C, she is more strict, or D, she is much strict. So here the answer is A. She is rather strict. Alright. Right here, the question says, my brother usually drives to work with a friend. He dash drives alone. A, seldom. B, always. C, regularly. D, often. All these are adverbs of frequency because they are answering the question of how often. So now, in this question, if it says my brother usually drives to work with a friend, so he drives alone. So, कितनी frequency में he drives alone? He seldom drives alone. Seldom मतलब कभी कभी, like rarely. Okay. Himanshu is an excellent student. He dash goes to school. A, usually. B, always. C, sometimes. Or D, seldom. Now here the options, all these are again the adverbs of frequency, answering the question of what? Answering the question of how often does something happen. So since Himanshu is an excellent student, how often would he be going to school? Always. So the answer is B, always. Okay, now the next one. Do you dash go to the cinema on Friday? A, seldom. B, hardly. C, always. D, infrequently. All these again are the adverbs of frequency and they are answering the question of how often does something happen. So do you dash go to the cinema on Fridays? Now since we talk about Fridays, so here the answer will be yes, C. Do you always go to the cinema on Fridays? Alright. Here, the train is dash crowded. A, today crowded, adverb of place. B, weekly crowded, adverb of frequency. C, always crowded, adverb of frequency. And D, most highly. This is adverb of manner, answering the question of how. Here we're talking about the train being crowded, and the one adverb which fits here is the train is always crowded, right? Adverb of frequency, answering the question of how often. Our mathematics teacher dash ever smiles. A, hardly ever smiles. Usually ever smiles. C, always ever smiles. D, mostly ever smiles. Now when we are using this word ever, usually the adverb used is hardly. Now that something hardly ever happens, which means this is the situation which happens very less number of times. So the answer is A, hardly. Alright, and all these are adverbs of frequency, answering the question of how often does something happen. Alright, so here what we have to do is we have to fill in the blanks with suitable adverbs from the given alternatives. There's a paragraph given and we have to fill in these blanks. December is the season of music. The people of Chennai celebrated dash. A, extravagantly. B, extravagant. C, extra with extravagance. Or D, extreme. Here the correct adverb is A, extravagantly. Now the adverb, there's only one adverb here, which is A, extravagantly. B, D, both of these are adjectives, extravagant and extreme. And C, with extravagance, is actually the meaning of the adverb extravagantly. Something that happens in an extravagant manner. Alright. Now, if we didn't have to fill in an adverb, we could have filled it with the option C. But since we have to use an adverb, so adverb is option A, extravagantly. December is the season of music. The people of Chennai celebrate it extravagantly. Lovers of classical music and dance soak in this intense atmosphere for 15 days. In this intense atmosphere, B, in this culturally intense atmosphere, C, in this cultural intense atmosphere, or D, cultured intense atmosphere. Here the correct answer is B, culturally, which answers the question of in a cultural manner. Alright. The rest of these you see, A, culture, this is a noun. C, cultural, this is an adjective. D, culture, this can also be said to be an adjective. Like XYZ is a cultured person, so it becomes an adjective again. Even non-resident Indians visit Chennai during this part of the year. The season of music closes with the new year. Even non-resident Indians, A, regularly visit, B, regularized visit, C, regular visit, or D, regulate visit. Here the correct answer is A, regularly visit. The adverb is regularly, something which happens continuously, okay, in regular manner. Adverb of frequency, answering the question of how often. Other words, be regularized, adjective, or it can, C, regular, adjective, D, regulate, verb. Alright. Now question number 31 to 35 are HOTS questions. The achiever section, there will be 3 marks each, right? In your final paper, they're 3 marks each, okay? So here Meeta changes her cell phones. A, late. B, total. C, frequently. D, well. The correct answer is C, frequently. It answers the question of how often, adverb of frequency. Alright. Now for the others, A, late. Now this is an adjective. B, total. And D, well. Well is also an adverb, but not appropriate here because we are talking about frequency. Alright. My cat will come dash if you call its name. A, far. B, my cat will come near. C, my cat will come onward. Or D, my cat will come very. Here, the correct answer is B. My cat will come near if you call its name. Talking about the adverb of place, near and far. Alright. So the correct answer is B, near. My cat will come near if you call its name. Usually you call the cat's name and will come running to you. So that's what the sentence is trying to say. Alright, here the accused dash pleaded in front of the judge. A, continue pleaded. B, continuous pleaded. C, continuously pleaded. Or D, continuing pleaded. Here the correct answer is C, continuously pleaded. In a continuous manner. Alright, adverb of manner. Answering the question of how. The other words, A, continue is a verb. B, continuous is an adjective. D, continuing is the continuous form of the verb again. My younger brother dash thinks of becoming a singer. A. Very thinks. B. Well thinks. C. Late thinks. Or D. Often thinks. My younger brother, D. Often thinks. This is the adverb of frequency answering the question of how often. So, my younger brother often thinks. Alright. Now here, the answer is D. Often. The question says, I am not feeling good. I want to sit dash. The options are A. Somewhere, B. Everywhere, C. Hardly, or D. Rarely. Now here, the answer is A. Somewhere. I'm not feeling good. I want to sit somewhere. Adverb of place. Okay. The options B. Everywhere is again place, adverb of place. C. Hardly is the adverb of manner, answering the question of how. D. Rarely is the adverb of frequency, answering the question of how often. Alright, so with this we come to the end for our questions of adverbs. Alright.
That's all for our class on adverbs. I hope you have understood the basic premises on adverbs. I would request you to go back and revise this topic thoroughly so that you don't make any mistakes in it. I will see you the next time. Thank you for watching.